surviving hell on the battlefield, only to come home to a new fight within.
When my wife would leave to go to work, she would make me promise her not to kill myself while she was gone.
I was crawled up in my bed thinking about killing myself.
They get frustrated and they decided to screw this, and they shoot themselves.
This time, veterans are on their own, facing their demons with no backup.
There are soldiers out there, veterans, that are still suffering, and they're not getting the help that they need.
Now, a Target 8 special, The Battle at Home.
Hello, I'm Keith Cate.
I'm Jennifer Lee. They fought for our freedom. Now they're struggling to survive here on home soil, and they feel alone in this never-ending battle.
Every 72 minutes, an American veteran commits suicide. That's at least 22 per day, possibly even more. It's a heartbreaking situation that's impacted numerous military families right here in the Tampa Bay area.
Target 8 senior investigator Steve Andrews has spoken with many of these veterans and their loved ones.
Among them, a mother whose son took his own life. She believes he fell through the cracks. Carol Razor says it is time for the VA and the Department of Defense to give as much to their veterans as they ask members of the military to give while serving. Joseph Ryan Razor was born and raised in Pinellas County. Motivated by the events of September 11th, Joe joined the Marines at age 18. At 19, he left for war. During 6 years in the Marines, Joe Razor deployed twice to Iraq, once to Afghanistan. His mother worried about the effects of war.
I figured after 3 tours, there has to be something there. It's just, it wasn't observable to me.
Joe left the Marines in 2010. According to Carol, he really didn't talk about it much.
In retrospect now, I think he was protecting me from hearing anything that was gruesome.
Eventually, Joe moved to Portland, Oregon. In April, Carol got a knock on her door at 3 a.m.
One was with the sheriff's office. I was part of their hostage negotiation team. I have a lot of training in suicide prevention. And I couldn't prevent my own son from taking his life. And that's just a burden I'm gonna have to carry in life.
Along with Joe's dog, Harley, Carol brought home her son's records she wished she'd known about. Carol was shocked to discover at age 20, too young to buy alcohol, the Marines put Joe on Prozac, an antidepressant, then redeployed him for more combat.
If our loved ones are being given medication, let us know. Bring us into the fold so that we know what's going on with them early on, not after their deaths.
Not only was the Prozac a surprise, Carol was stunned to learn the VA in Portland treated Joe for PTSD. When questioned, Joe's counselor told her that he took few notes but saw no signs.
There's no doubt in my mind that the system failed him just from that example.
It was at Joe's funeral that some of his buddies disclosed to Carol what haunted her son.
They told me about an incident where 2 IEDs hit in front of the Humvees. In front of them, soldiers were on fire when they came out. Combat things that they had to do.
And there was more. The anniversary of the death of one of his Marine buddies may have triggered Joe's suicide.
My son had guilt over the death because he had changed the shifts and he should have won out on the shift. But I think he had paperwork or something else he had to do, and the other Marine went out, and he was friends with him, and that Marine got killed.
At a Bay Pines July town hall meeting on suicide prevention, Carol listened to those struggling with PTSD.
I have been in contact with the crisis line on more than one occasion.
I was crawled up in my bed thinking about killing myself.
Actually, very moving to see grown men crying openly. That should not be happening.
Carol left the town hall meeting early. Maybe she heard nothing that would help. Maybe what she heard reminded her of what his buddies told Carol at Joe's funeral.
They came up to me, gave me a hug, told me how much Joe meant to them, and that he talked them out of suicide. And I just think that's such a tragedy that there are soldiers out there, veterans, that are still suffering and they're not getting the help that they need. And I think that's unacceptable.
If only she had known. If only the military or the VA informed her, brought her into the fold. The mother, so well trained in suicide prevention, may have helped to prevent her sons. One observation Carol Razor made about that town hall meeting was that while VA bureaucrats listened and seemed to want to know what was going on, the passion just wasn't there. She feels the VA needs to step up its game.
Easier said than done, Steve. I mean, this is a big agency. How does it step up its game?
Well, you know, at that town hall meeting, I heard veterans really bearing their souls about lying in bed for days, thinking about killing themselves. The responses I heard from the VA were very antiseptic, like, "We're sorry you feel that way. We'll try to do better next time." This is very personal to these veterans. You have individuals with individual needs. This one-size-fits-all approach has got to change.
Status quo not working here.
Not working at all.
Coming up, a mission to shed light on a serious issue.
We want to bring awareness to the veteran suicide problem.
So who would steal these signs?
How comes a Bay Pines police officer?
The VA's reason for the bizarre sign snatching.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! And we're kicking it off. It is going on now, and it's back.
It's back. We do it again this year.
Cruise with Huge 2018. Come on in. It's huge.
Can you fit in there?
I got this.
So that's the new man, huh?
Yep.
Well, he's getting a little close to my ride.
Wow. That's how you make a first impression. They're gonna love you.
That's Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry in for 0% financing for 72 months across a full lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Just announced, during final days of the Ford year-end sales event, get 0% APR for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash on Edge, Escape, and F-150.
Trustco Bank has hometown checking with free online banking, free debit card, and free use of over 55,000 ATMs worldwide. It's the right time to move to Trustco. Go to TrustcoBank.com for details.
Your hometown bank, Trustco.
Member FDIC.
Celebrate the new year with up to $1,000 off at Cane's. This weekend only special hours. Get $100, $200, $400 off. Even up to $1,000 off. Every living room, every bedroom, every item store-wide. Or get 0% interest for 60 months. Hurry, this weekend only. Get up to $1,000 off or 0% interest for 60 months at Cane's Furniture.
It's time to train for the Publix Gasparilla Distance Classic.
Starting in January, we're sharing inspirational stories and training tips to get you to the finish line.
Plus, I'll have your complete training forecast.
It's the Publix Gasparilla Distance Classic Training Challenge, starting in January on News Channel 8.
I'm here with Ron and Dar. Where are you guys from?
Sarasota, Florida.
From Sarasota, Florida. What was your favorite part of the cruise?
Everything.
Everything. That's 8 for everything. Going on now. Cruise with Huge 2018. It's going to be huge.
We return now to our Target 8 special, The Battle at Home.
A lot of veterans who've personally suffered depression and suicidal thoughts are literally crying for change.
Their struggles with the VA brought several to the streets outside of Bay Pines. They claim delays and frustration pushed them to the edge.
22 veterans take their lives every day. In front of the VA at Bay Pines, 22 mannequins stood as a reminder of this American tragedy. Army veteran Mike Ford admits he's come close.
Idea was just to go ahead and just kill yourself on VA property, right? Maybe if they see it, maybe people are like, wow, there's something really going on here.
Diagnosed with PTSD, he claims he suffered physical and mental pain for years. Mike left a sick father to drive across the state for a VA appointment for which he'd waited 9 months.
I go there. Oh, you didn't get our message? We canceled your appointment.
When Mike got home, his father was gone.
Wasted my time with the VA when I should have been with my father. He was my hero.
Army veteran Brad Bolden used one word to describe his treatment.
Horrible.
Veteran and former Bay Pines nurse Carol Henson joined him.
You're just ignored. It's like you're a passing thought.
Their complaints are many. The common theme, frustration with the VA.
A lot of guys commit off themselves because they can't get their claims approved, and there's no reason.
They protested problems with claims.
It's one thing to question what's wrong with me.
even though it's clearly documented. It's another when you don't address it at all.
Problems with medical care.
They make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and then you go back and they don't correct it.
Feeling shortchanged, ignored, betrayed by the VA, these veterans understand where frustration can take them.
They get frustrated and they decide, screw this, and they shoot themselves. Believe me, I know, I've been there.
I understand now the suicide part, the homicide part, I understand it.
What do you understand?
I lived it. I lived it. They're going through and not finding an ounce of help. I mean, none.
According to Nurse Carol Henson, anytime you deal in medicine, you have to be aware that you're there for the patient. She believes at Bay Pines, from the top down, that has been forgotten.
Well, what about Bay Pines? Any response from them?
As far as that protest was concerned, in an email, a Bay Pines public affairs officer wrote, "It is their right under the First Amendment to peacefully protest, and Bay Pines respects that."
Yeah, interesting response here, considering our next story, because a VA cop was caught on camera snatching signs calling attention to the veteran suicide epidemic. So, you ask, why would he do that? Well, the VA contends the signs were on federal property, so they just had to go.
But the reality is those signs were placed there by a veteran who has struggled with suicidal thoughts.
Sure, and the question really is, why would Bay Pines police take down a sign promoting a rally for veteran suicide awareness? Surveillance video shows a Bay Pines VA police officer removing a sign outside the facility. The sign promotes a September 11th rally for suicide awareness and a protest.
We want to bring awareness to the veteran suicide problem.
Navy veteran and former Bay Pines police officer Keith Hansford planted the sign.
It was right here. The pegs were where my feet are.
After a couple of Keith's signs went missing, he planted a third and watched with a camera.
How comes a Bay Pines police officer puts his lights on, walks over, puts it in his car, and drives off?
Keith asked a VA dispatcher if the police removed the signs.
Then she come back and said, no, none of our officers have taken any signs.
You want your sign back?
I do.
Let's go get them. I accompanied Keith to the police station.
Are you filming, sir?
Yes, sir.
You cannot be filming in here unless it's authorized by the public affairs officer.
Do you have a sign or something that says
I didn't see any signage that said we weren't
It
allowed.
doesn't matter. I'm telling you right now, sir.
The VA's Jason Dangle.
The signs were removed because, again, they're identified on federal property.
Is this really federal property? This Pinellas County property appraiser map clearly shows the VA's land stops at this red line. For Keith, who suffers from PTSD, this is all extremely personal.
For a while, when my wife would leave to go to work, she would make me promise her not to kill myself while she was gone. And I would always tell her not today. That was the best I could do, day by day.
According to the Florida Department of Transportation, that property upon which those signs were placed is owned by the state.
Next, accused of faking.
I went in there and, ready to bare my soul to somebody, and they stick their hand down my throat and rip my heart out.
A veteran suffering from PTSD gets the ultimate brush off from the doctors who are supposed to be helping him.
Celebrate the new year with up to $1,000 off at Cane's. This weekend only special hours. Get $100, $200, $400 off. Even up to $1,000 off. Every living room, every bedroom, every item store-wide. Or get 0% interest for 60 months. Hurry, this weekend only. Get up to $1,000 off or 0% interest for 60 months at Cane's Furniture.
I'm Robert Palmer, president of RP Funding. Mortgage interest rates have unexpectedly dropped, creating an opportunity to lower your monthly mortgage payment. You can take advantage of this huge potential savings by refinancing with RP Funding. And as always, I'll pay all your closing costs. I've paid over $20 million in closing costs for homeowners just like you. So now, let me pay yours. Go to rpfunding.com or call us today.
It's the season for sugar and spice. Measuring, mixing, melting. stirring things up. It's a sip, a taste, a nibble. It's the perfect time to let us do the cooking. Find the perfect platters for your event in our Gather and Share brochure. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Jen Holloway. Here are some local events happening around the Bay Area.
Celebrate the holiday season at the Winter Village in downtown Tampa. The whole family can enjoy the sights, sounds, and activities of the holiday. Details at wintervillagetampa.com. And set the sails. It's time to party like a pirate Saturday, January 27th. For details, go to GasparilloPirateFest.com. Tampa Bay Events is sponsored by Monster Jam, Marvel Universe Live, and News Channel 8. Now, our Target 8 special, The Battle at Home, continues.
A Bay Area Marine went to the James A. Haley VA hospital in Tampa for PTSD treatment, but a VA counselor told him he was faking.
It's called post-traumatic stress disorder for a reason. And when veterans go looking for help, they don't need insensitive, unprofessional remarks from the VA. Here again is Steve Andrews.
Peter Sirk spent 20 years in the Marine Corps, including some harrowing moments in Iraq, in a bloodbath called Mosul.
You heard the mosque music come out, and then all of a sudden just sheer hell broke loose.
Peter and dozens of his buddies later became extremely ill from anti-malaria medication, then contracted the disease. He claims he still suffers side effects.
Horrible dreams. I get tremors once in a while. You know, I have neurological problems.
The Navy diagnosed Peter with post-traumatic stress disorder. The VA treated him in New Jersey for 13 years.
My disease is caused me to become very less social, very reclusive, very emotionally torn.
In August, Peter attended his first therapy session at James A. Haley. Shockingly, the VA therapist told him he didn't have PTSD. Peter was there only for drugs.
I went in there and, you know, ready to bare my soul to somebody, and they stick their hand down my throat and rip my heart out.
My gut reaction is that's wretched, that's horrible.
According to psychologist Dr. Candace Stewart-Sabin, a remark like that could set off a veteran suffering from PTSD.
You could put a gun to someone's head doing that, in my opinion.
It just drove me so crazy.
Dr. Sabin spent 10 years at the VA building trust with PTSD patients. Comments like Peter heard are destructive.
What that does is invalidate their feelings. It invalidates their experience. It invalidates them as humans.
So where do you go? What do you do?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. Find out here. It's frustrating.
Peter claims the exchange shook him to his core. He was unable to calm down for days. Haley declined to comment on camera, sending a statement that said treatment and recovery is a collaboration between clinicians and veterans. It made no mention of its therapist's remarks.
I cannot even imagine how emotional an experience that had to be for him. It has been several months now. Is the VA still denying that Peter even has PTSD?
Well, according to Peter, Haley has still not acknowledged that he has an issue with PTSD. He has a new counselor who tries to see him twice a month. The VA suggested group therapy, where it puts a bunch of veterans in a room so they can talk about their problems. Another example of the VA not addressing individual needs.
Unbelievable.
Next on The Battle at Home, living under a constant threat of having the rug pulled out from underneath them.
What do you mean there's no guarantee? He needs a caregiver.
Why a Bay Area veteran's progress as he recovers from a horrific injury could actually be hurting him.
I think people were ready for a change. You know, the mortgage industry had just made such a mess of so many people's lives. At that moment, I had a choice, and you know, I decided to open my own company, to open RP Funding in the wake of that, but to do it differently and to not charge people fees and to make sure people got a good deal and to do all these things that the rest of the industry told me I was crazy for doing. That was the idea from day one, was to be different and to try to change the industry if I could.
Celebrate the new year with up to $1,000 off at Cane's. This weekend only special hours. Get $100, $200, $400 off. Even up to $1,000 off. Every living room, every bedroom, every item store-wide. Or get 0% interest for 60 months. Hurry, this weekend only. Get up to $1,000 off or 0% interest for 60 months at Cane's Furniture.
Can you fit in there?
I got this. So that's the new man, huh? Yep. It's getting a little close to my ride.
Wow, that's how you make a first impression. They're gonna love you.
That's Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry in for 0% financing for 72 months across a full lineup of Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Just announced, during final days of the Ford year-end sales event, get 0% APR for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash on Edge, Escape, and F-150.
Hi, I'm Jen Holloway. Here are some local events happening around the Bay Area.
Celebrate the holiday season at the Winter Village in downtown Tampa. The whole family can enjoy the sights, sounds, and activities of the holiday. Details at wintervillagetampa.com. And set the sails. It's time to party like a pirate Saturday, January 27th. For details, go to GasparilloPirateFest.com. Tampa Bay Events is sponsored by Monster Jam, Marvel Universe Live, and News Channel 8.
It's Giant. Every remaining 2017 model must go during the Giant year-end clearance sale. Over 1,100 2017 Hondas are on clearance and cost up to $3,805 less than the competition. Save thousands with 0.9% financing. Fits, HRVs, Civics, Accords, CRVs, Pilots, Odysseys, all on clearance. Save thousands with 0.9% financing during the Giant year-end clearance sale at your local Honda dealer.
During the last 2 years, the VA caused tremendous stress for thousands of veterans and their families by eliminating them from a program that provides full-time care at home.
A local mom worries her wounded son could be next.
Christine Cooley provides round-the-clock care and supervision for her son Josh. She has since 2005. That's when a roadside bomb in Iraq like this blasted the assault vehicle Josh was on, sending shrapnel through his head.
They called me and said they were going to fly me to Germany, Landstuhl, because I had to escort his body home. He wasn't going to make it.
The front of Josh's brain and a portion of his skull were gone. He suffered severe burns from his waist up.
I was talking to him the whole time I was there and lifting the towel, and I saw how bad it was. I mean, everything was gone here. I leaned over to kiss him on the cheek, and he grabbed my arm.
That gave Christine hope. The Marines medevaced them back to the States.
He was going to die within days. It was bad. The front of the brain was gone. If he did survive, which they doubted, he would never know who I was, walk, talk. He would be vegetative.
Christine refused to give up hope, and Josh refused to die. Hospitalized for 3 months, the 6'6" former sniper with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office endured at least 8 surgeries. His mother by his side, Josh spent 2.5 years in rehab. He underwent a variety of therapies. Incredibly, Josh relearned to walk and talk. 3 years after suffering these horrendous wounds, Josh finally came home to Brooksville. Then, in 2011, the VA rolled out a program providing services and pay to caregivers like Christine.
It's a necessity.
The VA recognizes a home environment can be more beneficial for veterans. It pays caregivers, 92% of whom are women, mostly spouses and mothers, up to 40 hours a week. But every year, the VA warns there's no guarantee this program will continue.
What do you mean there's no guarantee? He needs a caregiver.
It looks like a culling of the herd, so to speak.
Lauren Price is one of the 26,000 veterans since 2014 who lost a caregiver.
In many cases, caregivers are not even given a reason other than the veteran no longer requires the care.
Lauren's organization, Veteran Warriors, revealed to Congress many terminations were arbitrary and unlawful.
People are very afraid.
They tell them that you don't need it anymore. I'm hoping they don't have the audacity to ever say that. Josh is missing the whole front of his brain.
This program is a godsend for Christine Cooley. She can get by on the small amount it pays and provide round-the-clock care Josh requires. But she's tired of the VA placing dollar signs on her son's future.
I have a real hard time with the VA, with the amount of money they have, and the fact that they have things like interior decorators with six-figure salaries and expensive pictures on the wall in these beautiful buildings. Yeah, it's nice to walk around and see all this stuff, but you don't have the money to pay a caregiver so my son can live in his home?
During my visit, I learned Josh is a big history buff. Afterward, I sent him a copy of Ken Burns' Civil War. His mom sent me this video.
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for the DVDs. I'm really going to enjoy them. Hope to see you again.
His mom shared with me when Josh got the package, his whole face just lit up.
I mean, when I see that, when I see him speaking in that video, it's just absolutely incredible and remarkable progress, but it immediately makes me wonder, does that kind of progress work against veterans?
You know, it does. Sadly, it really, really does. Veterans make progress, the VA decides they don't need caregiver service anymore. Decisions like that have had very deadly consequences.
We've seen it time and time again, Steve.
Well, the Trump administration says it is making veteran suicide prevention a top priority.
VA Secretary David Shulkin launched a new campaign urging everyone to be there for veterans.
Right now, we have a national public service announcement that's going out asking for everybody's help.
What matters is that we're there for them, just like they were there for us.
Tom Hanks narrates this, and it's #BeThere, because we believe that this has to be solved not only by the Department of Veteran Affairs, but by the community working together.
And you can join the conversation by using the #BeThere on social media.
If you are a veteran in crisis, or you know someone who is, there are people out there who want to help you. You can call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255, or you can send a text message to 838-255.
And who is going to remember those 6 numbers when they are in crisis? This is what I'm talking about. The VA may be well-intentioned, but it makes things so difficult. Why not do something simple that every veteran can remember, something as simple as SOS?
Yeah, it's a good suggestion, Steve. 911, reverse 911. We have those simple numbers like that. And it sounds like the VA is doing everything they can to help, and the programs are there. It's just difficult to navigate the system.
Extremely complex. A lot of times, veterans who've had trouble getting the benefits they deserve from the VA, I've seen results after we've gotten involved. I want to help if I can, and in a lot of cases, we have been able to. So if you're a veteran and you've exhausted all of our avenues, contact me by calling our Target 8 helpline. The number on your screen, 1-800-338-0808. If you're in crisis, call the Veterans Crisis Line. Don't give up. There is someone, somewhere, who can help you.
There certainly is. You have been one of those people. We thank you so much. Thank you for what you've done for the veterans. And
we owe them so much more.
We certainly do.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us as well.
And remember, you can watch and share The Battle at Home anytime on our website, WFLA.com, and on our free News Channel 8 app.